Hey everyone, welcome back. Last week I shared the process of painting the majority of this painting, but not the final finishing things, and some of you requested that you would like to see more than a glimpse of it at the end. So I thought in this week's video I would share more about this painting and show you some close-ups and talk a little bit more about my process when it comes to abstraction. If you're new here, I'm Pat from Scribner Art and Design in Parksville, British Columbia on Vancouver Island. I love sharing my knowledge with you. If you like this type of content, consider joining my membership, where I share lots of different processes and lessons, plus a vibrant community. So what I love about abstract painting is the intuitive process. Now, if you've been following me, you know that I'm an intuitive painter pretty much with everything I do. But pure non-objective abstract is the most difficult because we don't have any kind of a roadmap. We're not trying to make something. We're just trying to put together a balanced, good-looking painting. And believe it or not, it's a heck of a lot harder than it seems. So there are a lot of abstract compositional styles that you can follow that may be helpful. So you could look at doing a cruciform or a grid or a cantilever, diagonal. There's several of them. If you look around at abstract art, there's all over pattern, or you can just go totally intuitive and bring through the elements and principles of design into your work. So for me, that's what I did in this painting. It's very intuitive. It didn't follow any of those compositional structures as such. So what I like to do is continue working and responding to my last mark. When I start to get tight or stuck, I like to scribble and scratch. I do check my values often and see if it's really feeling balanced or not, because color can throw you. I like to switch up my tools to a lot of different things so I'm not just making the same marks all the time. And I like to add patterns. So a shape that I really enjoy is circles. So you can see that I've added circles into this painting, more oval shapes. This part here is collage paper that is on a tracing paper, and it was done with ink. So there's a little bit more of it over here. In this area there's some Asemic writing done with a marker, a Posca pen. So I do have a bit of structure in this, in the sense that I did make some black lines and I have some graphite line work going on in it as well. Some marks back into wet paint over in this area and also up here. So I continue making marks and building up layers, letting go of things as I go to end up with a finished piece. And when I'm near completion, I need to step back and, well, I'm stepping back all the time. I'm stepping back and looking at the painting from a distance. But when it's feeling like it's really close to finish, I don't like to rush, because we can go too far or we can take away things that were really good. So there's no going back in acrylic other than adding more and trying to get something that you had before, but it's virtually impossible to get what you had. So I like to slow down. And I also like to take it into a different space. So I usually take it into my house. I like to be able to look at it from a distance over time with no distractions, at least not the distractions in my studio, so I can really pause and ponder it. The other thing I will do is I will take a photo and look at it really small, because often you can see the whole thing better when it's small, and it makes it easier to see the mistakes in it, or the flaws, the weak spots. So I'm always juxtaposing things that are contrast. So in other words, thick and thin, opaque and transparent, and shapes. I have a square shape with the more organic shapes. So trying to get a lot of variety in my work. And then I'm also looking at balance, that it feels balanced. I've got this heavy weight down on this bottom corner, and then I've balanced it with this area that has more energy and excitement in it. And this I would consider the focal point. So often we have more than one focal point. There should be a dominant one, and maybe if it's a big painting, you can have a subdominant one. So if I look at this, over here is kind of an echo of what's going on, and this is like a subdominant focal point happening over here. The line across here is leading us across, even though it's broken up here. It's underneath the opaque paint. It's very faint, but it's leading us across. And as we get close up to this painting, you'll see some graphite lines that are bringing our eye across. I have used a roller, paint roller on this, and done some really light coats of opaque paint, like a veil. So in these areas I can still see some of what was happening underneath, but it's pushed way back. This is giving my painting a lot of depth, and that's one way of getting depth. I do not like flat paintings, and I do not like to see the grain of the canvas. I like to have lots of juice on my paintings, so I keep building it up and building it up. And that's part of the way of resolving the piece as well, is continuing to make layers, and all of that is the history. Nothing is a mistake. It's just history, and we let go, we bring back, we let go. This is done on canvas, so I haven't done any sanding, but often, especially on board, I will sand back to some previous layers to get some of the history from underneath back up to the top. So all kinds of ways to approach the process, but basically you're making a mark and responding to the mark. When I feel like I'm getting stuck and tight and don't know what to do, that's when I bring my inner child in and just come and make marks and scribble and do asemic writing and all those things, just to loosen up again. And I find that brings some new energy to the painting, gives me something new to respond to, and I try and stay in that most playful stage till really close to the end of the painting. If we get too serious too soon, our painting's going to look contrived and controlled too much. And I want to stay loose, but at the same time have some hard edges. These circles down here were done with a stamp, and then I painted in. This also was done with a small stamp, just a single stamp that I did in repetition. Bamboo skewer to scratch back in, and yeah, just a series of opaque and transparent and thick and thin, and thinking of balance and contrast and focus, and looking at the painting upside down as well. Now I found this painting looks best this way, but let me turn it over and see you know how it hangs the other way. You can let me know in the comments if you prefer, which way you prefer. The way I had it, A, or this way, B. So if it's got good balance, it usually looks good in both orientations. Now, maybe it looks good vertically too. I haven't actually tried that. So what would throw it off in this case is a bit of a semic writing I have would feel like it's going the wrong way. But we can certainly play with the orientations. To start this painting, what I did was decide on my color palette that it was going to be a warm painting, predominantly warm, and have a bit of cool with it. So what you want to make sure in your paintings is that you don't end up with a painting that is 50-50, half warm, half cool. You want to push it one way or the other. And so definitely I would consider this a warm painting, and blue is the opposite of orange on the color wheel, so it works very well with these colors. So I have used a primary palette for this with the addition of cadmium orange, which I didn't mix, it is from the tube, and the teal blue. So I've got a couple of different blues in here. The teal, which is an opaque color, and then also the phthalo blue. I've used some Naples yellow, and I think I've got two reds going on too, a magenta and a type of a cadmium, cadmium deep, I think was the other one. So it doesn't have a ton of color. I've mixed a lot of the color. Down here you see it's a little bit pinker, and that's because that's the red with white over top of it optically mixed. I didn't actually make pink, it just looks pink because I put white with the roller over top. So that's my process, generally speaking, on abstracts, is that I just let loose, have fun, and it really is helpful to understand the principles and elements of design. I have some videos on composition that you might want to watch and do some of the exercises so you start to hone your skills on composition. And if you want more information on that and help with your work and critiques, come on over to my membership, where there's lots of people other than myself that are very good with good trained eyes, and they will give you some feedback as well, and you're welcome to put a piece in the monthly critique too. So it's well worth the value. There's lots of instruction there as well. So I hope that you enjoyed that, and next week I'll have another painting to show you. Until next time, happy painting.